This week, our summer-long celebration of Optimus Prime continues with a look at the faithful companion who's been with him through 40 years of adventures. These are the basics on Roller. Roller was a small, non-transforming, six-wheeled, all-terrain vehicle included with the original 1984 Optimus Prime toy. The vehicle could be equipped with either Prime's laser rifle or gas pump accessories, and stored inside the trailer of the Autobot leader's semi-truck alternate mode, which featured a spring-loaded launcher that could send Roller zooming into action. The most widely available version of Roller was dark blue, but early production runs of the toy were also available in both grey and light blue. Now, to explain why Prime came with this little vehicle, we need to go back a little further. The toy that would become Optimus Prime was first released in the Japanese toy line Diaclone in 1983 under the name Battle Convoy. The robots and vehicles of Diaclone were piloted mecha and came with tiny driver figures. As part of the gimmick, Battle Convoy included a small ATV that could seat 4 of these drivers. When the figure was imported by Hasbro and released in the Transformers line as Optimus Prime, the ATV came with it. But the Transformers didn't have pilots, so the vehicle was reimagined for this series as an autonomous drone named Roller. As explained in the profile for Optimus Prime, penned by writer Bob Budiansky, Roller was essentially a part of Optimus himself, to whom the Autobot leader was remotely connected. Optimus could see and feel everything Roller did, even from over 1,000 miles away. Prime usually employed Roller as a scout and a spy, his small size allowing him to easily slip into places the larger Optimus couldn't. Surprisingly, despite being a part of the most famous character in the whole franchise, Roller was featured in very little media. Other than a tiny handful of vanishingly brief appearances in comic, story, and colouring books, his only truly significant roles were in the original animated series. Though notably, the cartoon coloured him grey like his early-run toys, rather than blue. Roller fleetingly featured in only 4 episodes of the series, in which he was used by Optimus to sneak behind enemy lines and to distract and harass opponents on the battlefield. In the last 40 years, there have been many new toys based on Optimus Prime's original Generation 1 design, but only a few have included Roller, most of which have opted to copy the cartoon and colour him grey. But in addition to these scattered recreations of his original toy, Roller's also taken on a few new forms over the years. The very first new Optimus Prime toy, 1988's Power Master Optimus Prime, didn't include a Roller. One was designed, which would have been an actual transformer, triple changing from Scout Car to Robot to the head of Optimus's Super Robot mode, but it was dropped during the figure's development. However, Power Master Prime would eventually get a Roller of his own. When the toy was reissued in 2003, it came packaged with the formerly Japanese exclusive toy God Bomber. This release reimagined God Bomber as a roller drone for Power Master Prime, named Apex Bomber, who transformed from armoured trailer to robot and could combine with Optimus as Apex Armour. In 1991, another new Optimus Prime toy was released exclusively in Japan, Star Convoy. This figure included a companion vehicle named the Micro Carrier, which featured motorized caterpillar treads. It wasn't made explicit at the time, but later Japanese media would make clear that this carrier was an upgraded Roller. More on this in a little bit. In 2005, an unusual 2-pack of Optimus and Roller was released through Japanese retailer eHobby, a recolor of the Autobot pickup truck Cup and his partner minifigure Recoil that represented Optimus and Roller in the days before Optimus was Autobot leader. As seen in the original cartoon, back then, Optimus had been a young dock worker named Orion Pax. and this set revealed that Roller had been Barrel Roller, a humanoid drone who transformed into an electromagnetic lifting handle that Orion used to transport cargo around on his job. Another Optimus and Roller 2-pack was released in the Generations line in 2014, featuring a version of the drone that triple changed from ATV to robot to a blaster for Prime. The only series outside the world of Generation 1 to feature Roller was the live-action movie universe, which introduced its version of the character in 2011's Dark of the Moon toy line. Uniquely, this Roller was unconnected to Optimus Prime. Instead, he was an Autobot pilot who transformed into a lunar rover and came packaged with a playset of the Autobot spaceship, the Ark. Perhaps the most significant addition to Roller's history was made by IDW Publishing's comic books. Stories published in the early 2010s revealed that in IDW's universe, Prime had named Roller after an old friend of his, who he had worked with back when they were both officers in Cybertron's security forces. This Roller was a big, brawny bot, who, despite his size and strength, suffered from an inferiority complex, which drove him to take circuit-boosting Cybertronian steroids. He was one of the first bots to join Optimus in fighting corruption in Cybertron's government, but he disappeared in an explosion while trying to save a field of newborn Transformer Sparks from destruction by government forces. The mystery of Roller's fate led to a widespread fan theory that, in the present day, he had turned to evil and become the masked Decepticon, Tarn. In 2016, a toy inspired by the IDW character was released in the Japanese Unite Warriors toy line, a recolor of the Autobot Rook from 2015's Combiner Wars. It transformed into a 6-wheeled armoured reconnaissance vehicle, coloured silver to look like the original Roller, and was sold in a box set with a team of Decepticons with whom Roller could combine to form the giant robot Grand Galvatron. Playing on the unsolved mystery of what had become of the IDW character, it was initially implied that this was IDW's Roller, who had gone over to the dark side due to being abandoned by his comrades. But as his story unfolded in the tie-in Unite Warriors manga, the truth came out. This Roller was actually the original Roller in a new form. The manga was set in the world of the original cartoon, and explained that after Optimus Prime died in the Transformers the movie, Roller was left stranded in subspace, the pocket dimension in which Prime had stored his trailer when not in use. Trapped in the void for years, Roller came to believe he had been abandoned and grew twisted with anger and resentment. His rage was sensed by the dark god, Unicron, who rescued Roller from subspace and used his powers to upgrade him into a full Transformer body. Roller was partnered with a team of Decepticons gathered by Unicron from across the multiverse and sent to do the god's bidding. But in the face of Unicron's evil, Roller was able to quickly put his resentment behind him and rejoin the forces of good to help foil Unicron's wicked schemes. The redeemed Roller then took up the job of standing guard over Optimus Prime's grave so that he could be with his old partner, always. A few years later, in 2019, the Transformers Legends manga would then tell the story of how Optimus's body was stolen by the alien Dark Nova, and how Roller fell in battle trying to recover him, only for the Autobots to then use the mystic power source known as the Zodiac to restore both Optimus and Roller to life, reformatting them into Star Convoy and the Microcarrier. The fate of IDW's Roller, meanwhile, was finally revealed a few months after the Unite Warriors toy was released. It turned out the Tarn stuff was just a red herring. In reality, Roller had been rescued from death at the last moment by Sensare, a time-traveling transformer from the future. Transported through time to the present day, Roller began a new life, adventuring with the crew of the Autobot starship Lost Light. A part of Optimus Prime's life from the very beginning Evolving and changing alongside him, Roller's one tough little Autobot, always ready to heed the call to roll out. And those are the basics on Roller. Be back next time for the final installment in the Summer of Optimus Prime. Become a channel member or sign up on Patreon to get early ad-free access.